For what purpose?
Permission to question the author of the legislation.
Do you yield?
I yield.
Thank you. Senator Craitman, thank you very much for bringing this legislation. I look forward to voting for it. But before we get there, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the fiscal implications of the bill. There's been a lot of chatter, right? And as you say, discussion, and some of it accurate and a lot of it inaccurate about the fiscal implications of the bill. And I think some of that confusion was caused, of course, by the fiscal note and the fiscal note that worked on projections, correct?
That's correct.
You agree with me? Okay. So both the LBB and the TA had projections. They were different because they used different assumptions. Is that correct? About the potential use of the program.
That's correct. It appeared that they extrapolated growth in the program on participants and the cost.
But actually, this bill is in how it will be implemented is subject to appropriations, correct?
That's correct.
And we have $1 billion per year in the current, I believe, in the budget, and what you are anticipating as you put forward this legislation, correct?
That's correct.
So to make it clear, the comptroller cannot authorize any more ECAs than can be funded by the $1 billion per year that the legislature will appropriate if they choose to do so.
That's right.
And there are no new entitlements that are created in your legislation. So there's no constitutional obligation, no obligation in the education code to provide a certain number of ESAs. It's based simply on instructions to the comptroller that you can fund it to the point of $1 billion, however many subscribers that may be, following the instructions of what we set up. And there's no truing up at the end like we have to do for, conversely, with the foundation school program.
That's exactly right.
All right. So I also see a lot of people comparing the amount of funding per ESA that you've laid out in your presentation to the basic allotment, and they use this number of $6,160, which, as you know, we provide significant funding to students in ways that fall outside the basic allotment. And the latest numbers from TEA, as we look forward to FY27, is actually, and SB1 is filed, is actually $15,642 per student. I'm going to say that again. It's $15,642 per student when you look at all the funding mechanisms that are in place that are outside of the basic allotment formula. And I'm sure you're aware of that, which of course is less than any of your ESAs would provide. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's consistent with the numbers we're working off of.
Okay. So secondly, let's talk a little bit about the pension impact that could possibly or not have any impact upon the TRS pension fund. You know, we've been very protective of this fund in prior legislative sessions. We contribute significant amounts of money to make that actuarially sound. When I say significant, many, many billions of dollars, and we have kept that up, and we will, it's my commitment to continue to guard that fund. Every member in this body has voted for that and is very protective of our retired teachers. So we want to look at if there could be any impact. I see that TRS is independent, and it's independent actuaries, that's important, did an analysis, and they state that it is very unlikely to cause the pension fund to no longer be actuarially sound if some teachers were to leave the system to go to private schools or any new private schools that may be established. So that's correct. It appears from the actuary there's not going to be any harm.
That's exactly correct, Madam Chair. You've led for many, many years on protecting TRS, as many members have followed your leadership. We're all aligned there. We would never design a program that would put TRS at risk.
And I think when the actuary looked at the Florida system, it's been in existence in a very universal type of system. They didn't see any harm. And in fact, I had my staff look at the Arizona system as well, since that was another big, it's not as big as ours will be, but a big system to look at. Actually, their pension fund improved under it. Exactly why could just be investment returns, but there was certainly no negative impact on the Arizona fund as well. So I'm sure that we can give anyone listening our commitment, you and I's commitment. I think every person in the body, if they could raise their hand and vote on this, would say yes, that we will continue to monitor the pension system to make sure there's no negative effect, but there's absolutely no indicators that would cause us concern at this point that we were jumping into something that would harm our retired teachers. Is that fair?
That's correct, and not only fair, but in recent budgets and many others through the bienniums under your leadership, we have bolstered TRS and under your plans have created more and more protections and strength for TRS, and we will all continue to be aligned in that effort. So thank you, yes, for clearing that up.
Thank you. That's basically what I wanted to set out as we start the debate today, because people may have opinions, but it's very important to have the facts about the fiscal implication. I think we get much better debate and much better honest discussion about something like this if we're working with the facts. So I was hoping to establish that as we get started.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Creighton. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Huffman. Senator West, for what purpose?